So the Project Trace, which is the abbreviation of SMEs Transition for a European Circular Tourism Ecosystem, is co-funded by the European Union as part of the overall post-COVID recovery strategy for a sustainable and resilient European tourism ecosystem. In this project, we are 7 partners from 5 European countries, and the project has the duration of 30 months. Project Trace aims to enhance skills and capacities of European SMEs towards a more resilient, sustainable, and circular tourism economy. And this is why it has the objectives actually of enhancing existing competences and skills, enhancing the adoption of sustainability frameworks and tools, developing a circularity monitoring framework for tourism SMEs, enhancing resilience and awareness raising. And this is why we have this free series of webinars and generating new partnerships and agreements. In Trace projects, after launching an open call, 100 SMEs from these 5 countries were selected for obtaining a grant of 7,200 euros from these different hospitality categories. And what these SMEs will be doing with the grant is to choose between undertaking a fitness check, preparing and applying for eco-sustainability certifications, implementation of environmental footprint methods, upskilling and reskilling their human capacities, boosting innovation, improving the innovative sustainable solutions they have, or introducing and triggering new ones, developing sustainable business strategies, and developing socially sustainable tourism models. We have 5 free webinars. Today's webinar will be tackling the topic of how to ignite or enhance sustainable business practices in the tourism sector. And I would like now to present our 3 bright speakers. Our first speaker is Katrine Gilvari. Katrine works as Head of Supply at Hostelworld, a leading global online travel agent focused on the hostel market. One of the company's earliest joiners, Katrine has held multiple roles on both the marketing and the supply side of the business over the years. Prior to taking up the head of supply role, she led the B2B marketing and comms functions for a number of years, and it was here that she joined the Hostelworld Steering Committee for environmental, sustainable, and governance issues, ensuring that the hostel partners had a voice at the table. She continues to hold this position and is currently leading on the development of a bespoke sustainability framework for the hostel's partners. Our next speaker will be Martin Duchateau. After graduating from the École Hôtelier de Lausanne, his hospitality career unfolded in Brussels in 2002 with Cunard International, which was part of the Hilton Hotel Corporation. He later transitioned to Dublin, assuming the role of revenue management oversight for 2 regional hotels. Martin was then tasked with implementing reservation systems and delivering strategic solutions for upcoming Cunard hotel openings in Asia. Subsequently, he relocated to Berlin and joined the headquarters of Design Hotels AG, where he assumed responsibility for overseeing operations at 70 hotels. After a decade of international ventures, Martin returned to Brussels to assume the role of Director of Revenues for Radisson Blu. But in 2012, fueled by entrepreneurial spirit, Martin and his sister embarked on a journey to establish a boutique hotel, the Maiden Louise, with plans for a second hotel opening in 2024 in Brussels city center. His aspiration is to drive sustainability within the tourism and hotel industries. Our third speaker today is Elliot van de Velde. He's a young self-taught chef and sustainable catering entrepreneur. He founded Hearth Project, a solidarity project created in December 2019 to raise awareness about food waste and giving disadvantaged people access to quality meals. In May 2022, the project opened its first space in Brussels dedicated to the fight against food waste. The Hub House incorporates a workshop for producing meals for charities, workshops for the zero waste approach, and Entropy Gourmet Restaurant. This restaurant, which helps financing the non-for-profit organization, recently won the Visit Brussels Awards and the Gold Milieu Culinary Innovators Award for Sustainability Discovery of the year 2023. It aims to convey the idea that gastronomy and circularity can coexist. Thank you very much for joining us today. And without further ado, I would like to welcome you, Katrien, and give you the floor. And thank you very much for joining us today. I know you are in Western Australia, and it's really very late at your end. It's 22:37, so you must be exhausted. Thank you very much for being with us, and the floor is yours.
My pleasure, Aruba. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks everybody for joining. If I'm not as coherent as I normally am, it's because of jet lag and the late time, but the sunshine is helping. It was -2 when I left Dublin, and it's about, I don't know, almost 30 here most days, so it's a little bit of a change. So I'm just going to try to open my deck. Let me know when you can see this. Should be any minute now.
It's perfect. We can see it, yes. And
great, okay. So
yeah,
now I need to try and figure out how to move it along. Let me just see if this, and figure out where the forward. Okay, so this is the first one. Okay, so as Ruba said, I work as head of supply at Hostelworld, and that role really involves managing all of the relationships with our partner hostels. And then the role in ESG specifically is ensuring that our partner hostels have a voice at the table when it comes to everything that we do in the area of ESG. A really quick introduction to Hostelworld in case you haven't heard of us. We were founded in Dublin in 1999, so there's a strong Dublin connection here today. I didn't realize there was going to be a Dublin connection, so that's nice. That makes us a pretty, old OTA. We're small, but we consider ourselves mighty. So we've been around quite some time in the online travel agent landscape. We consider ourselves an online marketplace for hostels. And what we mean there is, by hostels, is an accommodation type with shared spaces. We are a very global business, so we have 16,000 properties in 170 countries, and we book customers from all nationalities into hostels in all markets, so a truly global business. About 80% of our customers are aged between 18 and 35, so we have a very young target audience, and about a similar amount, another 80% book shared accommodation. That's typically booking into a dormitory style accommodation. And again, because we have a very young market, they're also quite vocal, opinionated, share a lot of customer reviews. So we have about 14 million customer reviews as of October 2022. That's a little bit about Hostelworld. So then if we look at, sorry, I'm struggling to see how to move the slides forward. So just bear with me for a second. Yeah, here we go. They just keep disappearing. So as I said, our audience is primarily a young audience. And that cohort, that millennial and Gen Z travel cohort, represent about 4.9 billion customers, billion people on the planet. And 1 in 4 of the millennial Gen Z population is planning to travel in the next 6 months. That's obviously very good news for us as an online travel agent. However, we're very aware, all of us, I guess, the reputation that travel gets when it comes to sustainability. So what's encouraging for us is the fact that we know that this 18 to 35-year-old category are also the travel cohort that are making conscious decisions to travel more sustainably. We already know that 60% say they are more likely to consider sustainable travel options. We also know that saying and doing when it comes to all of this are two very, very different things. But when we surveyed our own customer base last year, 58% of those customers already said that they're traveling overland where possible. taking the bus or train instead of flying. We've seen a lot of campaigns across Europe with Eurail, you know, promoting rail travel to that travel, that young travel group, which is really encouraging, but it's also making them think a little bit more about flying, for example, to all of these destinations. So again, you know, young population are very considerate of traveling more sustainably. And I guess, fortunately for an OTA called Hostelworld, they also consider hostels the most sustainable travel option. So we surveyed our customer base around this time last year. And so 6,000 of our customers came back to say that they felt hostels were more sustainable because of the shared spaces in the accommodation, but also the shared spaces beyond the accommodation. So things like communal areas, shared kitchens, all of that. And I'll talk a little bit about that on the next slide. And then just over 50% also referred to things like reduced water, reduced electricity used in hostels. So when we looked at the things that primarily concern our customer base, 70% cited climate change as their number one concern currently. So we set about to, you know, look at how hostels perform in the area of emissions specifically. And a report that we worked on last year proved that hostels produce about 25% the CO2 emissions when you compare them to a subset of hotel counterparts. So really strong proof, again, that hostels, if you want to travel sustainably, they're a very, you know, they're a solid choice to make when it comes to traveling more sustainably. So that's kind of a little bit about Hostelworld and a little bit about the customers. For anybody who's not familiar with the hosteling category, I hope all of you have had a chance to travel and stay in hostels at some point in your lives. It's a rite of passage for most people, certainly across Europe. But if you haven't, or if you've forgotten and it's been a while, the hosteling category is very unique in the accommodation landscape. So if we look at the left-hand side of the slide, on the supply side, it is dorm and private rooms with those large communal areas I talked about. So common areas, shared kitchens, all of that. It's a very low price point, typically about 25% the cost of a 2-star hotel. 80% are independent owner-operated businesses. So when we talk about SMEs, this is right up, you know, in the SME category. We have some large chains. We've seen some consolidation in recent years, but for the most part, they're small, they're independent, they're very fragmented. As I said, putting them, you know, slap bang in the SME category. And a very large portion are located in and give back to the local community. So they upcycle buildings, they support local businesses, they feature local artists. There's a very, very strong focus and more a focus on kind of mingling the backpacker community with the local community as well, which is, it's a very important part now of their community engagement specifically. Then on the sustainability side, I've talked about the CO2 piece, so that lower square meter footprint invariably means that there's a lower CO2 output. There's much lower water consumption and waste, timed showers, for example, but also very practical things like much less laundry requirements, for example. There's low food production and minimal food waste. Again, that communal kitchen that I talked about is a key part of those shared facilities. And then things like less packaging and plastic due to low bedding, low provision of toiletries, all of that. So inherently sustainable just by the nature of the way the business is run. Following our survey with our customer partners, we also then surveyed our hostel partners. So this survey is just under 1 year old. So we need to refresh this now, and hopefully these numbers will have shifted. But at the time, 56% of our partner hostels reported that they were already participating in sustainable initiatives, and then another 37% really want to, and they came to Hostelworld for support in doing so. If you think about some of the points on the previous slide, you know, the lower price point, the small teams that are running these operations, it's not really surprising that financial constraints are cited as the major blocker to progress, but also resourcing, time. Probably the same across anybody on this call who's running, you know, certainly a smaller business. These are the blockers. It's very hard to justify and put time aside to all of these things that are coming our way. Hostels said they were least developed in gaining any kind of recognition or measurement. So even those that were doing something were either doing it without measuring or monitoring, didn't even realize they were doing it, and again wanted our support to help them kind of start on that journey. And 60% said they were in favor of a badging system to highlight their efforts. So we kind of took all of the feedback from the hostels and started to work on the framework that I'm going to get onto. But even before we launched the framework, we felt it was very important to acknowledge the importance of that sustainability that's inherent in the sector. So we commissioned that body of research that I talked about. So that's the research proving hostels are the most sustainable accommodation option. So we worked with Bureau Veritas, certification body, on that. We added new sustainability categories to our annual HOSCR awards, things like Eco Warrior, Community Champion, inclusivity, covering things that we know hostels are great at, but certainly celebrating hostels that go above and beyond. And we were also the first OTA signatory of the Global Tourism Plastics Initiative. So that was an EU initiative aimed at addressing the root causes of plastic pollution. So looking at reduce, reuse, recycle. And I put a kind of a humble brag quote in there, you know, feedback from the GTPI to say that they were really pleased with the progress that we were making there with the hostels. So we have a number of signatories for that initiative as well. So after we kind of started to seed the things that hostels were doing, it became very apparent to us that hostels needed support. Again, you know, because they're small, they're fragmented, there's not really this one joined up piece of thinking. And this is where we felt that we really, you know, we're not just another OTA. Because we're a niche OTA, hostels talk to us, we talk to them. And if they come to us with something, we typically aim to support them on their journeys. So the first thing that we did was went back to Bureau Veritas on the back of the emission report, and also worked really closely with the Global Sustainable Tourism Council. So we had joined that body back in, I think, the end of 2021. It was very clear to us at the time that everything that they were doing was also focused on the broader generic accommodation sector, specifically hotels. So it took a little bit of convincing to reassure them that hostels were quite a different accommodation type. So we worked with Bureau Veritas in conjunction with the GSTC standards to adapt the criteria that they had for the independent hostel category. And that led us to developing this bespoke sustainability measurement and management system that I talked about earlier. But that was a huge piece of work. As I said, you know, it's 2 years since we joined GSTC. None of this is fast. It's a slow burn. We've you know, the name that we've given our framework is the staircase to sustainability, because it really is always about kind of starting somewhere and climbing along that ladder. So if we look at what we did while we were working on all of this, and this involved surveys, interviews with hostels, with customers, you know, one-to-one interviews, constantly iterating to ensure that what we were delivering was fit for purpose for the hostels themselves, because if it doesn't work for the hostels, it's kind of pointless. So the other things that we started to do were showcasing sustainability of hostels at these, so GSTC is Global Sustainable Tourism Council, at their global conferences. So end of 2022, they invited us to sit on a panel with Booking.com and other OTAs to talk about what we were doing. By the next conference, they asked us to come and host a panel with hostels and small accommodations. And it was the first time hostels had really been on stage at one of these conferences. So it was speaking all of the time to the fact that they were recognizing the differences too. And they've invited us back again, actually in April, to Stockholm to showcase the framework to that audience. We launched monthly newsletters and sustainability resource centers for our hostels. We launched sustainability stories. So these are kind of live examples of hostels doing great things. And we did that for 2 reasons. We obviously wanted to showcase the great things that they were doing, but we also wanted to make it very relatable to other hostels, because quite often with a lot of this, it's you know, you're concerned or you're worried or you're making it bigger than it might need to be to just get started. So we really wanted to bring to life small initiatives that really start to move the needle on this. Or, you know, there's a perception that all of this is extremely expensive and takes forever to, you know, show ROI. So they're the kind of stories that we really wanted to bring to life with the partner hostels. And then we also introduced sustainability link-ups. So link-ups are our kind of event and experience piece of what we offer to our customers. So having things like beach cleanups or bring and buy secondhand clothing, or they take on all kinds of guises, but they're a really important part of that Linkups platform. So on the left, kind of plodding away for 2 years to get a framework live, and on the right, just doing all of this really great peer-to-peer stuff. The hostel community is very, I mean, they're in competition with each other, but they also work very collaboratively. So, a group of hostels in a city would get together and kind of talk about what they're doing, which is also something that makes it quite unique in the accommodation sphere. Now, they also obviously want to beat their competitors in another way, but I think in this instance, I mean, any of us would agree we shouldn't be competing on sustainability, we should be collaborating, and that's kind of what we tried to foster with all of those initiatives. So where we've ended up is a framework called the Staircase to Sustainability, and it's built on the 4 pillars of the Global Sustainable Tourism Council criteria. These are probably pillars that are familiar to all of you. So we have sustainability management, which helps our hostels structure and process, give them the structure and process to help them manage and report. So if you think back to one of the observations that I said we made was they're actually doing really good things. They're just not, it's not even on their radar. So it's to start to look at what they're doing, benchmark themselves, start to document what they are doing, give them a toolkit to stay on track versus goals, for example. And then it takes in all the legal compliance, reporting and communications, looks at customer experience and staff engagement. The next pillar is socioeconomic. So impact of the hostel on employees, focusing on fair and equal employment, decent work, the impact on the wider community. So that's what I talked about from the outset, the role that they play in that local community, and impact on customers being a very significant one. The third pillar is the cultural pillar. So this is protection and presentation of cultural heritage, respectful cultural interactions, and appropriate treatment of historical artifacts. And the fourth one is environmental. So obviously this is a huge one. I really just kind of cherry picked some of the key points to convey what the pillar represents. So conserving resources, including water and energy, environmental purchasing, reducing pollution, and conserving biodiversity, ecosystem, and landscapes. And then the way we're looking at it at the moment is a 3-tier badging system. Honestly, most of the hostels will enter at level 1. So this framework is to launch in January. It's actually ready to go, but we just figured that hostels, it's kind of pointless launching a brand new framework the second week in December. So that's going to launch in January. So we envisage a lot of our partner hostels coming in at level 1, where they've grasped the fundamentals of the sustainable tourism pathway. Level 2 is more around progressing towards a well-rounded and thorough strategy that will lead them towards certification, which is obviously up at the top of that staircase. They've started to document, they've started to monitor, they've started to collect evidence. And these, by the time they get to level 2, they're subject to an audit as well. So it's starting to become a lot more formal at level 2. And then level 3 is quite formal. It's where they have a comprehensive strategy, they've implemented actions, they've documented all of their strategy and achievements, and they've also passed a sustainability audit by an accredited certification body. Now, currently, no hostel globally has that GSTC certification, but we were also under instruction from GSTC that that's what every hostel should eventually aim to. So that's kind of where we're at the moment with regard to badging. It's very similar to what Booking do. It's very similar to other OTAs. As I said, it should be. If you think about airlines, they didn't particularly compete on safety because everybody knew they needed to do it. You know, when we go to conferences, we sit with teams from other OTAs to look at what they're doing, because ultimately where we would really like to get to is if somebody's level 3 on Hostelworld, they're also level 3 on Booking.com, and to a customer, it's very obvious what a hostel has done to unlock that particular level. So to sum up, before I put you all to sleep with myself, I would say that Hostelworld sees ourselves as having a unique opportunity to influence the largest travel population on Earth. So that's terrifying and exhilarating in equal measures. It's a huge responsibility, but we really want to take this on. So for our partner hostels, we want to provide a framework that removes time, cost, and resource constraints. We want to lean on the peer-to-peer power of that wonderful hostel community to educate and inspire. And we will continue to harness those sector benefits we know to be true. So those inherent things that make hostels more sustainable. For our collective customers, we want to showcase the efforts hostels are making. So we want to enable customers to make a sustainable choice. We want to use our social network capabilities to surface those hostel-based activities that I talked about. So if I'm, choosing between hostel A and B, I can see what the hostel is doing, but I can also see what kind of events I might be able to participate when I'm there to kind of further bring that sustainability story to life. And then also start to capture customer feedback, to feed that back to the hostels, to let them know what they're doing well, what they perhaps could be doing better. And then for us at Hostel World, we want to continue to promote hostels as the most sustainable accommodation choice. We also want to collaborate with other industry leaders to drive that collective mission forward. So that's working with other OTAs and other providers. And our ultimate goal is to move towards having our framework recognized as a GSTC standard, because that then kind of puts a line in the sand to say this framework built specifically for the hostel sector is something that we GSTC recognize as a standard. So that is me. Thank you for listening. Thank you for your attention. I will say after 2 years, it's extremely rewarding and exciting to be on the cusp of launching this. Hostels are looking for it. We had our global conference about 4 weeks ago. We talked about this, and there was a queue of hostels to come up to ask when it was going to be launched, because they need help and they need support, and they want to monitor, they want to measure, and they want to improve. And that's ultimately what we aim to deliver with our staircase. So that's it from me. Thank you. I will endeavour to stay on for the Q&A. If for any reason I have to pop off and there's questions in the chat, Ruba, feel free to share them and I can pick them up afterwards as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Katrien, for this wonderful presentation and for this helicopter view of the process which you initiated 2 years ago by investigating what your young customers are interested in, what the hostel environment is offering, and how to develop a framework which is bespoke and can answer the needs of both hostels, customers, and communities. It's really beautiful to see how you went through a very lengthy process, but actually very rewarding as well, since you have been recognized by the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, and you managed to develop a framework which incorporates the 4 pillars and also provide different pillars for different capacities and let's say paths between your hostels. So many congratulations for this great achievements, which links very well with our next speaker, who is Martin. Katrien was actually speaking at a macro scale, but maybe you can give us a picture at a micro scale of the practices and strategies you are putting into your hotel here in Brussels, and how and why actually you decided to go for a sustainable hotel.
Okay, thank you. Can you hear me well? Yeah?
Yeah, we hear you perfectly.
Thank you very much, Katrien. It was very interesting. Thank you, Ruba, and good afternoon to all. So I'm just going to share my presentation. Okay, can you see it?
Yeah, can you please share it full screen?
Yeah. Okay, is it okay?
Perfect.
Okay, good. So good afternoon to all. So as Ruba said, we will jump into a much more local initiative, which is in Brussels. Just before starting, I wanted to give you a few figures that I'm sure that you all know, but it's interesting to know that the tourism industry is today 7.6% of the world economy, and it represents 10% on our global labor market. So we really have a very important and crucial role in sustainability. We represent our sector represents 8% of a global CO2 emission, which is quite a lot. And if we split it into our sector, transport is 49%, and lodging, so hotels, apart hotels, are at 6% of impact. We can see on this graph that it's not finished. So of course, you will see that we have all great initiatives, but the forecast is still showing a strong increase into the carbon footprint for the next 30 years. This is a figure that I wanted to share, but I think that Catherine shared as well some figures that are a bit similar. Is that tomorrow no one will be aiming to travel with to a hotel or to a hotel without having any sustainable with no sustainable approach. So here that's a number from Booking.com saying that 77% of French said they wanted to travel in a more sustainable way. So very important that every hotel is now looking into it. So we're now going to go to the example of one hotel. So just to frame it a bit more, it's a 3-star boutique hotel in Brussels, 48 rooms. It's located in Brussels in the Louise area, and it's a family-owned and managed hotel. And we're opening a second hotel in the city center of Brussels, where we will have as well sustainable initiatives. Of course, we are Green Key. So you all know Green Key. I think it's the strongest label today on the market for hotels, for the hotels. It's it's currently in 60 countries. We have 308 establishments in Belgium, which is quite a lot. So there's a visit every year in new property. So they're checking every single action. They're checking as well your business plan in order that you improve all the time all your initiatives. And it's of course it's corporate social responsibility, it's CSR as well, it's water and energy, and it's as well the encouraging guests to limit the environmental impact during their stay. So as Catherine said, I think we were talking about labels on Booking.com. So it's very important. So for example, we are level 3+ travel sustainable. And when you ask your guest upon checkout, is it important for you? I mean, does it really have an impact during your booking process? And most of our guests are saying, yes, we're now choosing hotels that have got a level 2 or more our hotel. So very important. We are as well eco-certified on Google. So wherever we can put it, we will actually specify that we have sustainable initiatives. A few very specific points, but maybe interesting for all of you. We have a cogeneration in the hotel, meaning that we are actually producing our own electricity while heating. So it's working with gas. So it's perhaps it's another fossil. But by heating our water, we producing our electricity. We have window detectors everywhere, so meaning that whenever there's a window open, the AC stops automatically. And we will install motion detectors in the new hotel. So after 1 hour, if there's no movement in the room, the AC and the electricity will stop. We audit our water consumption every single month. And we have a waste management as well, meaning that we weigh every month the waste that we produce, and we're working very closely with our producers with our providers as well to reduce packaging. A few other examples, 80 to 85% of our products are local. Okay, so meaning that we source ourselves very local in terms of bread, cheese, snacks, drinks. Everything is from Brussels. As you can see on the slide, you can see the Belgian map where everything is coming from. So we don't have any, it's a choice. We don't have any minibar in the rooms because it's actually consuming quite a lot of energy. So we have a water fountain, which is free of charge for all our guests, and they can just fill in a bottle of sparkling or still water and take it to their rooms. There's no more plastic in any of our articles. So everything is glass today or paper. Very important as well. Of course, we don't work with individual soaps. We have EcoPump in all the rooms. I think that really makes sense today. And what we currently working on is trying to work on customer sensibilization. I think there's a little mistake here. meaning that we want to raise awareness in the room. So I'm working currently with a startup called Luniwave, where we will put this little machine in the room, where actually the guest will know exactly how many liters it takes for a shower. The idea is to raise awareness, saying that, okay, if I go back to home, actually, I didn't know that every single shower that I take on a daily basis is 100 liters. It's 600 liters. So it's a little bit of gamification, but at the same time, we try to sensitize our guests. And doing so, we will map it with a loyal fidelity program, meaning that, okay, if I take a shower of 60 liters, maybe I will have a free drink, or I can have a discount on my next stay. So it's brand new. It's a new startup, but it's really things that I'm working on it for the next year. Of course, we have as well, every single guest can calculate their footprint. It's a 4-minute survey. That's a lot of hotels are doing. We're very active as well in terms of social initiative and action. So we did last year the Oxfam Trail Workers. So it's 100 kilometers. We did it with 4 of us of the hotel. We raised money for Oxfam. We're working a lot with local initiative like Notre Abri. And as well, we did last year a lot of different actions in the hotel. And we did the tour of Brussels, for example, for Somba Hospitality Foundation, which is a hotel school in Indonesia, which helps people actually. It's a 1-year program, free, that helps people to find a job afterwards in the hospitality industry in Indonesia. A few different things that I wanted to share with you as well. So as hotelier, I think that we are as well a point of entry for every single traveler in the city. So it's very important that we work as a referral. We have to refer them to transport, shops and restaurants that actually share the same value than us. So we created small maps. We created many things to really influence and to have an impact, not only on us, but to have an impact on different shops that are sharing the same values and is very important. We're working with new communities. For example, biking is very important. More and more people actually are traveling by bike. So we created a bike parking, and now we're looking at different partnerships in terms of bike communities in Europe. Of course, we're working as well on managing cleaning cycles, that meaning that when you book a room, you can decide upon booking if you want your room clean or not, or if you just want your room clean once if you stay 6 days. So it's something that we are moving quite fast on. And last but not least, we want to eliminate every single chemical product in the hotel. So we're working with Raypat. It's a European company where we're working with microfiber sponges, and we actually don't need any product in the hotel for cleaning. Now, something that I just want to share with you, we have to be super careful. Greenwashing is of course present in every single sector, but it's very strong as well in the hospitality industry, where we can see that 52% of people still believe that we share false or misleading information with them. One of the most strong example is this towels, this little panel that you have in every single bathroom in the hotel, saying that you put your towel on the ground. It is just show that it's of course it's a little thing, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. It's not that will change the whole philosophy of hotel. So very important to do much more than just little word in the bathroom. A few tips for you. So really try to be very precise and detailed in your CSR communication. Most of the time it's too vague. We're trying to say something, but actually we don't say it. I just wanted to share with you one of my TripAdvisor review, saying the reception hall is very warm and pleasant to relax in. Ecological side highlighted on the side, but can do better in the hotel. So actually I was selling it too much on my website. It's an example of greenwashing. I had to realign my value with what I was putting on the website. So actually my guests were reading too much with what they actually experienced. So I really had to align it afterwards. And it's a mistake that a lot of hotels, a lot of sectors are actually doing today. So you need a dedicated website section. Of course, you need regular updates. Just don't do it once a year. You have to show every month that you're doing something. Alignment between expectations and on-sites, which is just shared with you. Employee training and engagement. Co-creation. Most of the ideas and initiative in the hotel is coming from my employees. They're not coming from me. And enhance partnerships, or work with local providers, really trying to be strong. As Catherine said, we are stronger together in terms of partnerships. So very important as well. I just wanted to finish with this nice image. I don't know if you know, but it's the hotel. It's a hotel in Switzerland called Null Stern. And actually, they what they do is that they just put a bed in the middle of nowhere. And actually, it's not a fake image. So you can really book a room, a bed in the middle of nowhere in Switzerland. They have, I think, 4 spots in Switzerland. So if you want more information, please let me know. So thank you very much for listening. Hope it was helpful, and don't hesitate if you have any questions afterwards.
Thank you very much, Martin, for providing us with your sustainability strategy at your hotel. Maybe we can add just one element, that you were very courageous to launch during COVID as well. So it was a risky matter, but you managed beautifully. And it is really interesting to see how many protocols you have put in place in order to augment your impact, playing not only with what you can control with your own practices and products, but also introducing a gamification experience and a loyalty program attached to it. And I really enjoyed the fact that you provided some bespoke tips on how to improve communication, and very importantly, how to listen to employees, reskill, upskill, and create partnerships. So thank you very much for these very insightful and inspiring thoughts. I would like to give the floor now to you, Elliot, to give us also a different hands-on experience from the food and beverage sector, where you have been leading since 2021 your project, the Earth Project. So maybe if you can give us some background on how the project started, and of course, why and how the idea came into life. You're still muted.
Okay, right now it's okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Normally, it's my wonderful wife who is doing those things. Okay, so she has the perfect presentation, like my 2 others colleagues that I saw today. But the presentation is me. So I'm Elliot. I'm the chef and co-founder of Entropy Restaurant. Okay, so the gastronomic part of our association, Earth Project, and we fight against waste and precarity. I was not dedicated to this life. Okay, I was an event manager. I created so many things for Brussels before, and I discovered the food when, the first thing it was to cook for a girl. Okay, so it was for a date, and just after that, I created so many other things about food, and I tried one courses in a school, okay, and it became like a real passion. I created directly my own company. It was a catering company in 2016, and it became like crazy every day. And at that point, it never stopped. I'm totally full every day. I'm working 20 hours by day right now. It's crazy, but with this company, I saw so many things because I worked with so many great chefs, Michelin star chefs, and I saw so many mistakes. They throw away a lot of things. They didn't care about the local product. They didn't care about what we can make more and what we can make with not with, but with the people for the world. It was really important for me, and I understand that super earlier. So in 2017, I started to fight against waste with the Metro Group. Okay, I don't know if everyone saw it. It's the IKEA for the food industry. I started to work with them, and in one afternoon, I recuperate 1 ton of food surplus. Okay, and we cooked with my team and with a team of volunteers for 600 people, for the people at Parc Maximilien. So it was my first action to fight against waste and help the precarity. And I remember that day it was very hard to understand that you can make the difference and that you can be maybe someone else and not just a cook. But maybe a leader or a chef, and you need to work for it. So in 2019, with Adeline, my wonderful wife, we create Earth Project. Earth Project is a contraction of art and earth, who means in French le foyer. Okay, le foyer. It was the first project is to have a restaurant when people will come for the lunch, and in the night, the lunch will fund the menu for the people in need. Okay, it was the first project, but we had so many ideas. We are too creative in our project, and the COVID helped us to define our own values and our own expertise in what we can make. So we became wonderful caterer for the social part. Okay, so we fed 14,000 people by month. Okay, it was too crazy. And it was 26 association by days. Okay, we didn't have money. We didn't have our own kitchen. People help us with their own equipment. So we asked the people to do that. And we tried so many concepts, so many ideas. And so right now, if you are coming to Entropy, so it's Place Saint-Géry in the center of Brussels. We opened just after the COVID, like Martin, just after the COVID. It was in April 2022. Okay. At that time, so it was to also build all of our values inside the project. So values, it's food waste. Okay. Reboot of the HoReCa industry. Okay. Really important for us because the HoReCa industry is suffering a lot. Okay. We are missing a lot of people. Right now, I have 3 people missing because they are sick. So I'm working for 4 people today. My voice, you can hear that. And the project take also a very big jump. Okay, we became Discovery of the Year with Goemio. But we didn't have the right DNA when we started. I will just come back to that just after. Okay, and we won so many other sustainable prizes. Okay, we were the most sustainable restaurant for Belgium. We are second for a very big label in Copenhagen, the 360 Eat Guide, where really it's just crazy. And what we are doing here is just crazy things. It's just crazy things. We are always trying stuff. We don't know really what we will make tomorrow. It's just we are trying to make our best and to create something. So when I changed my DNA, it was 2 months after the opening. Okay, we passed by 40% local product to directly 90% local product, which is totally a way of thinking. And and we create more communication with our team, with our supplier, with our customers. And it was also what Martin said, the communication is the key. Okay, you don't need to make too much, you just need to be at the right time, at the right moment, and to share that with the people. Okay, it's what I said about trying things. Okay, and it's not only about our business, it could be for everyone, just trying things and just be quiet. Okay. What I can say about it, so right now the project fed 1 dozen people by month is the maximum that we can make into building, because it's an old building compared to the others. The city help us to find a place, and our place is not sustainable at all. Okay, it's an old and beautiful place, but we don't have the capacity to take care of it with more sustainable ambition. And we are trying to make it with the city, but it will take too many years to do that. So we think furthermore to create and to build other space like this to have more impact on our sustainability concept. Because sustainability is everywhere. We have like lamp from mushrooms. Okay, we have our table come from wood that you can find in the streets, and it's gastronomic. It's also that point of view. It's a gastronomic restaurant, a fine dining wine, but we take what the nature can give into a place, so everything is inside. What I can share with you is our food waste. Not throw away the things. We are always reusing things, not directly into the menu, but seriously, it's like an hard drive. We can find so many things, so many times in the year. Okay, by preservation of product, and it helps. It helps in the economy of a restaurant. It's super hard to find the right economy business, but seriously, it's working. It's working. What I can say more, I don't know if you have some question maybe for me.
Thank you very much, Elliot. Maybe we can actually, open the Q&A session and see if there are questions to you, Catherine or Martin. If you would like to answer if you would like to address a question to one of our 3 speakers, you can either post it in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask the question directly. You can either ask about their sustainable practices, how the idea came into place, or whatever pops into your mind. Yeah, Laura?
Hello. I want to make a question to Martin from Brussels, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
I was surprised when you explained that you are avoiding to use chemicals or products to clean, but instead of this, you are using microfiber to cleaning. I have some doubts that if this kind of tissue could not have microplastics, that is another pollution in cleaning. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Laura. I was a bit skeptical as well at the beginning, to be honest. It's something that I'm currently looking at. I had feedback from many hotels using it, and even big groups. I mean, you have Hilton hotels in Brussels using it. So there's a lot of hotels are using it today. So perhaps there's some microplastic into the sponges. I'm not 100% sure, but at least we clean those micro sponges. So at least it's recycled all the time and we don't throw it away. Now, apparently it's huge. It's a huge positive impact on the housekeeping team. So they don't have to, there's no more smells of toxicity product, and as well for your furniture. Apparently it's very good because there's the wood, the ceramics, everything lasts much longer without using those products. So I mean, I don't have a lot of details on how the sponges are made, but I can share definitely the website of this company, so you can have more information on it.
Thank you.
I will put perhaps in the chat the link to the company. I don't have anything linked to this company, so you can do whatever you want.
There's a question to Elliot from Christine. You can also unmute yourself. With all hands on deck in the kitchen cooking, how do you set up a communication plan to inform prospective diners before they arrive at your door?
Yes, can you just repeat the question? Because I didn't understand.
Yeah. So the question is, with hands on the kitchen cooking, how do you set up a communication plan to inform prospective diners before they arrive at your door? And maybe another question also for you is, are some key things to look for in the kitchen or restaurant to stop food waste?
Okay, so the thing for the food waste. So we are giving a lot of masterclass, conference about it. We are sharing a lot of things because with companies, okay, we show what we can make here in a place, okay. Food waste is, we know our place, it's 97% vegetal. Okay, it's really easy with the veggies because we are using every time the same thing. It's for that also that we go in that way, because with fish you can always reuse the things, but you need to have the experience to do that. So we are doing, I will not share with you everything, but we are making our garum. Some people can go to check garum. What is this? It's always about maceration and to use everything and destroying the mass, and the mass will go into liquid, or or the mass you can dry it and it will be a powder, something that you can always reuse somewhere. So we are using techniques, we are using space and time. It's for that our place is open only 4 nights by week. Okay, we are taking care about events or other stuff on the side for business model, but it's because we are taking care, yes, 1 or 2 days of our preservation product. It's for that the food waste doesn't exist here. We can make it. Some other restaurant can do that only by choosing the right menu with seasonality. And I don't like to talk about seasonality because when you buy local, you buy the seasonality. So it's for that if you are using the locality, you will have more impact into your thinking and consciousness about how to stop the waste. Okay. And you can seriously with a lot of different things, and we can share our ebook or something like that. Okay, we can share that. But you will see, you will pass by 40% of waste that you have into your kitchen to I don't know, to like 20 by just thinking a bit outside of the box. Okay. And for the first question, how do you set up a communication plan to inform prospective diners before they arrive at your door? I really don't know. People are just talking about themselves, about them. We have one, I don't know, Google advice. We have everything, and people are just talking about the project, and they're just coming like that. And because also we choose to be a gastronomic place where the veggies are just like crazy, and we are working a lot for it. I don't know if it's response to the question, but yeah.
Thank you very much, Elliot. There's a question for Katrine. How or do you consider integrating the concept of glamping in the hostel industry in terms of sustainability?
Thank you. So we work with a number of campsites actually, and non-hostel properties too. So generally we work with properties that are appropriate for our audience, even if they're not hostels. The framework is open to everybody, but they have to meet the criteria. So it's kind of a blanket rule. If you're on Hostelworld and you want to unlock a level, you must reach that, you must be doing that particular piece of work or that initiative. We're not making exceptions for different accommodation types. One of our biggest challenges is that if you think back to my very first slide, we work with 170 countries. They all have different rules and regulations. We have tried, and I don't know how it's going to work, to come up with something that's broad spectrum enough to cater for all of them. And then the other, and I'm guessing, Martin, you probably see this too, when a customer comes to your accommodation, they have an idea in their mind of what's, a regulatory requirement in their jurisdiction, but it could be very, very different. If you're in Scandinavia versus Santiago in Chile, the asks are completely different. So hopefully what we have is, as I said, broad enough to cater for most, including any campsites that we're working with. But yeah, glamping is quite a different beast to a hostel. So they'll tick what they're doing, and then if they're not doing enough to get any of those levels, well, then they won't have that badge on the site.
Thank you very much, Katrine. Are there additional questions? I can see that Adeline just answered Anne-Christine's question in regard to communication. So she's saying that Anthropy organizes also team buildings around sustainable food and volunteering sessions on their social pillar, which drives traffic, word of mouth, and customer acquisition. So maybe I have a question also to Martin, if you can explain what you're envisioning or what you're putting in place for your next hotel, and why actually you're opting for this step.
So in a few words, it's a bit easier for the new hotel because it's a very heavy renovation. So I can really start to take action and initiatives since the beginning. So it means that even all the furniture that I'm putting in the room, all my providers, I'm really trying to source everything locally. In terms of isolation, I'm trying to work with new methods of isolation. So even in the working process, the heavy work process, there's a lot of things you can do. So now in terms of opening, of course, I will do all the action, the initiative that I'm doing at Medelouise, I will replicate it in the new hotel, but I'm going to try to go even further. It's going to be a very small hotel in the city center, so it's important really that we try to emphasis on local network, on different contacts that I can have. That's really something that I'm going to start to work in January. But of course, there's much more I can do, and I'm going to work into it.
Okay, thank you very much, Martin. Are there additional questions to address to Katrine, Martin, or Elliot? Yeah, I can see another question now for Katrine. Is there a chain of hostels interested in the south of Italy in Salento, Apulia? We have structures but no management.
So if I understand, are you asking if there is kind of an association for chains in the south of Italy? Who's that? Maria. I'm not clear on the question, Maria.
Yeah. I think what she's trying to say, yes, Maria, can you maybe clarify?
Yes, I am here. May I?
Yes,
May
Hi,
I?
please.
Maria.
Okay. No, I would like to know is we have good structures, but we have not sound management. And so if there is a chain of hostels that can help us to organize and to put the right situations in our zone, in our area. We are in Apulia and we need of this. Because we have a wonderful sea places and a good art city and town, but we have not the specialist of this kind of, and we need. We have a structure near the station, the railway station, and we have not somebody who can organize. We have another one in San Cataldo, that is the marina, and we have not the persons who can have this. So do you think there is somebody who can help us for this?
I think there is. I need to find out who it is because I think it should be somebody that's well versed in a number of different things, like your geography, what you specialize in. So Maria, maybe just if you reach out to me afterwards, because we have a lot of really good partners in Italy and very progressive partners, and I think it would be great to connect you guys with them. So I will leave. Ruba will have my email address anyway, so maybe we could connect separately on that. Yeah.
Thanks. Okay. And
No worries.
may I make a question to Elliot? Okay, I would like to know, as he is a chef, before like manager a team of the people, a little equipment who guides, but the values of gastronomy is given from the ingredients that we use in the safe cuisine, in the healthy cooking. So what is like we have the Mediterranean cuisine, what kind of ingredient you can use as it's not a safe cooking?
So what kind of product I can use?
Yes, for safe cooking. Just
For safe cooking?
Yes, sustainability cooking, but with the ingredient like
what I can find.
Yeah.
What I can find in a natural way.
Genuine one.
What I can in what? Sorry.
Genuine ingredients.
Yes, what I can
good
find.
Ones like vegetable and on the
what I can find.
We can use above all.
Felix. Seriously, it's what I can find in the natural way. So I'm working with 2 local farmers. Seriously, sometimes I really don't know what I will have. So I will work with what I have from the field, okay, from the soil. Sometimes you have like radish. Okay, my box of radish. You have radish like this, and you have a radish like that. What I can make with it, and it's for that we like to work like this because the world is not perfect at all, and the world is not straight. The world is just like crazy, and we like to work with that kind of product. For me, the more natural products they are, the more beautiful they stay. So it's for that I keep my mind clear with the vegetables, and I don't want to use fish or something like that right now, because seriously, there is so many things too messy, and I want just to play with the veggies because they are just perfect. And veggies, you can find them like everywhere in all countries, in all cities. You can find someone who keep that in mind to grow crazy vegetables, and you can find them. And so when you talk about locality, you will talk about conscious communication with the people. So you will understand the work, you will understand the seasonality. If you understand that, you will be more open to the world and what you have really into your hands. I don't know if you will. And you talk about Mediterranean cuisine. I'm thinking about so many things. Okay, and one who is just crazy for Mediterranean is Mauro Colavecco from Mirazur, Fustas Michelin restaurant. He's doing super great things with his own garden.
Thanks. Okay, thanks.
Thank you very much, Elliot and Maria, for your question. There are two questions for Martin. The first one is, how are guests responding to your sustainability efforts? And do you believe it has genuinely enhanced your hotel's image? Have you observed sincere appreciation for the implemented sustainability measures? And another question from Marius, do you still use consumables in the rooms, like vanity kits, etc., or found a solution to replace them?
Okay, so thank you for those questions. So I'll try to make it short, but for the first question, first of all, it's a very strong personal conviction, sustainability. It comes from the heart. I'm really a strong believer that it's very important for us, for everyone. So it's something that it's very personal, as you can feel with when Elliot or Catherine are speaking. It's a personal matter, but it's a strong voice that you really have to diffuse to your guest and to your team. So if it really enhanced the hotel image, yes, I'm convinced that my score and my review score on TripAdvisor, on Booking, on different social media are directly linked to my sustainable initiatives. I'm 100% convinced on that. And it's going to be even stronger in years to come. So it's just the beginning, but in 5 years, you will have no choice. And it's good for you and it's good for the others. So every hotel should really move and do and change and do the changes. If you have a look at my reviews or hotels that actually have a lot of initiatives, if you read my reviews on TripAdvisor, 1 reviews out of 3 are actually highlighting the fact that they can feel that we're doing a lot in terms of sustainable, and it's super appreciated. So very important. So for this question, 100% yes, we have to move on. For the second question, it's a very good question, but because it's something that it's quite difficult to the vanity kits. It's something. It's an open question because the problem is that they are usually individually packaged in plastic or paper now. But it's usually for Asian regions. So in the new hotel, what I'm trying to put a little box in an area of the hotel where I might have vanity kits, but it's okay. If I don't know if a customer might take 10 or 15 and take it home. So it's something that I'm still studying, but it's true that it's an open subject. We haven't found a good solution for that today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin, for your answer. Marius, I was wondering, are you asking the question because out of curiosity, or have you found a solution for this issue actually?
Hey, no, I haven't, but I know it's an issue with hotels. The bigger the hotel, the more the waste, because customers are used to receive in the room a lot of consumables like vanity kits and so on, and most of them don't really need them. They just take them. But if you don't put them there, then you're gonna have troubles. So I was thinking while asking the question, because I was thinking, as Martin said, that maybe you can put them somewhere organized in a hotel floor or something like this, and maybe let customers ask for them or have them in the reception. I haven't found an answer for that, but I'm still looking. That's why I was curious, because it's also an expense. It's a big expense for a hotel.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marius. Indeed, it's an important issue to think about, and maybe we can bring it up also during the training sessions. Very good insight. Are there additional questions? I can't see additional questions popping up in the chat. If there aren't any, we can maybe conclude the webinar. We will be providing you with the recording and with the presentations, today presentations. Before waving goodbye, I would like to inform you that the second TRACE webinar titled How to Define Future Tourism Business Opportunities will take place on 25th of January, always at the same time, 3:30. And I would like to thank you all for attending the webinars, to thank our three speakers, and to thank warmly my colleague Karen for all the organizational aspects. If you wish to rewatch the webinar, the recording will be available soon on eShek's YouTube channel. Thank you very much for coming together on Zoom, and we look forward to welcoming you soon again. Thank you very much and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.